Liverpool, Isak's agreement, revealed as Romano confirms new update on Newcastle contract snub. Alexander Isak celebrates a goal during a match. According to reports, Alexander Isak had an agreement with Newcastle United, who have had a new offer rejected by the Liverpool target. The Isak saga continues to drag on, and a conclusion still seems far away after he made it clear to Newcastle that he wants to leave the club this summer. During the 2024-25 campaign, Isak cemented himself as one of the world's best strikers as he scored 27 goals in 42 appearances in all competitions for Newcastle. Isak helped Newcastle win the Carabao Cup and qualify for the Champions League, though he feels he is ready for the next step in his career as he eyes a move to Liverpool. The Reds have already paid around £80 million to sign Hugo Ekitike as part of their £260 million summer spend, though they remain interested in Isak as their dream target. Liverpool have already had a bid of around £120 million for Isaac rejected by Newcastle, who reportedly value their prized asset at around £150 million. It has been suggested that the Reds are ready to return with a new offer once the Magpies land a replacement. On Friday evening, transfer expert Fabrizio Romano revealed a new update on Isak's situation, confirming that he has rejected Newcastle's attempts to tie him to a new contract beyond 2028. Isaac, I'm told new thing to say tonight, that he said in a very clear way to Newcastle again this week that he is not willing to sign a new contract at the club, Romano said on his YouTube channel. So, Newcastle tried again earlier this week to offer him a new contract, but the player at the moment, guys, we never know in football. Maybe this could change in the next days or weeks, and I will be here to tell you because our job is to tell you what's going on, not to predict the future. But in this moment, Alexander Isak has no intention to sign a new contract at Newcastle. Alexander Isak wants to go to Liverpool, and so this story remains absolutely on. It's not over. Follow that one because the story again is really on. Before the summer, the Indikaila News was renowned for being a parody account on X, but they have recently emerged as a semi-credible outlet, as they have amassed 580k followers, a team of 5 respected reporters, and were recently credited by The Athletic's David Ornstein after beating him to a story. With that, Indikaila claimed on Friday evening that Isak's team has informed them that he reached a gentleman's agreement with Newcastle in January. They said on X, "Wow, close associate of Alexander Isak's contacted us. We seen your story that Adam Wharton has gentleman agreement with at CPFC to leave in next summer. Alexander Isak had the same agreement in January with at UFC to leave this summer. We are furious how we've been treated." Newcastle confirmed Alexander Isak decision amid Liverpool transfer saga. Latest Liverpool transfer news as Newcastle United make a major call regarding striker Alexander Isak. Alexander Isak is not playing for Newcastle on Friday night, amid links with a move to Liverpool. Newcastle United have confirmed Alexander Isak is not playing in their latest preseason friendly on Friday night. The striker is yet to feature this summer, amid an ongoing transfer saga of which Liverpool are at the center. The Reds were rejected 1 week ago when they presented a £110 million offer to their rivals, and as things stand, they have not lined up a renewed effort. This only came after the 25-year-old had expressed desire to leave Newcastle and had not traveled with Eddie Howe's squad for a tour of Asia, which was put down to a thigh injury. After the Magpies returned to England, it has been confirmed Isak has been made to train separately to his teammates, and now he has not been named in the squad that faces Spanish side Espanyol in front of supporters at St. James's Park. Howe has named a mixed starting English that includes captain Bruno Guimaraes, England defender Dan Burn, and debutant goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale among some youngsters. Up front is 22-year-old William Osula, another Swedish striker, but there is no place for Isak even on the bench. Liverpool's rivals still have another friendly tomorrow against Atletico Madrid, again at St. James's Park. It had been clarified that Howe would not be holding a press conference before either that or tonight's match, but will be taking questions after each. So there are answers inevitably to come about Isak. Prior to Isak being made to train alone, his manager had warned, "You have to earn the right to train with us. We are Newcastle United. The player has a responsibility here to be part of a team and part of a squad. You have to act in the right way. So that is also at play here. We will make sure that any player does that to earn the right to train with the group. No player can expect to act poorly and train with the group as normal. At the moment, Newcastle are in no position to sell even if they wanted to, the Echo's sister site Chronicle Live explained earlier, because St. James's Park Chiefs have still not secured all of the attacking signings they desire this summer. To factor into the situation is their wish not to see Isach line up for the Reds when the two teams meet in the Premier League on Monday, August 25th. Arne Slot refused to elaborate on Isak's situation when asked at his pre-Community Shield press conference, simply replying, "As you know, for me and I think every manager works like this, you never talk about players that are not yours." Alejandro Garnacho transfer latest as agreement reached. But Man Utd lay down demand. Manchester United are set to sell Alejandro Garnacho this summer, but want their £50 million price tag reduced from £80 million in January. But Chelsea are looking to deal at a lower value for the Argentina international. Alejandro Garnacho wants Chelsea, and Chelsea want Alejandro Garnacho. Alejandro Garnacho wants Chelsea, and Chelsea want Alejandro Garnacho. But whether he's the next member of Manchester United's bomb squad to depart remains in question. Of the 5 players Ruben Amorim pushed away from United's first team this summer, was they expressed a desire to leave. Only Barcelona loanee Marcus Rashford is gone. Garnacho, Antony, Tyrell Malacia, and Jadon Sancho, ironically back in Manchester after Chelsea decided to pay a fine to cancel their summer transfer obligation, all remain in situ. Argentina international Garnacho looks the man most likely to be next through the exit door, however. A regular under Ruben Amorim since his arrival, his talent isn't in question, but the Portuguese has had enough of his attitude and the drama that comes with the 21-year-old. I think with Garnacho, you can understand, and you can see that he's talented. He's a really talented boy, Amorim said earlier in the summer. His post-match comments after only being a substitute in the Europa League final were the final straw, however. I have the feeling, and I think it's clear, that Garnacho wants a different thing with a different leadership, and I can understand that, added Amorim. So I don't think it's a problem. Sometimes you adapt to one guy and you have the connection. Other times you want a new challenge. Chelsea believe that Garnacho, not taken on United's preseason tour of the US, can shine for them in the Premier League. Garnacho believes that too. He is desperate to move to Stamford Bridge and has already agreed personal terms over a switch to West London. Ruben Amorim has made clear he wants rid of Alejandro Garnacho, who wants to depart too. The question is whether Chelsea will meet United's £50 million price tag. That's considerably lower than the £80 million the Red Devils were asking for in January when Napoli came calling. But positions have changed. United are, clearly, no longer so keen to keep him, while Napoli instead moved on Noah Lang. Plus, United could do with bringing in some money, having spent over £200 million on their new-look attack of Brian Mbeumo, Mateus Cunha, and Benjamin Sesko. Chelsea are keen to get a deal done as soon as possible, but still want to pay less than that. United have so far insisted that's the price. Take it or leave it. Thus, Garnacho continues to train in red away from United's first team, rather than in blue as Chelsea's latest shiny new acquisition. Eddie Howe makes Isak U-turn after Liverpool interest and transfer blows. Newcastle striker Alexander Isak is pushing for a move to Liverpool, and Toon boss Eddie Howe has made a decision over his involvement in their upcoming friendlies. Newcastle boss Eddie Howe has performed a U-turn over Alexander Isak, with the striker now not expected to feature in their upcoming friendly matches, amid Liverpool's ongoing interest in signing him. Isak missed Newcastle's tour of Asia and was the subject of a huge bid from Liverpool that Newcastle ultimately rejected. However, the Reds are set to reignite their interest in Isak once Darwin Núñez's move to Al Hilal is complete. Isak is currently training away from the first-team squad, but it had been previously suggested that Howe was ready to select him for Newcastle's upcoming preseason friendlies against Espanyol and Atletico Madrid. However, Howe has decided not to pick Isak for either of those games, as first reported by the Daily Mail. It's understood Newcastle are sticking to their stance that they will only sell Isak if they have his replacement lined up. Newcastle value the 25-year-old at £150 million and have already missed out on two potential replacements. Hugo Ekitike ended up signing for Liverpool, while Benjamin Sesko is on the verge of joining Manchester United. When asked about Isak's future earlier this week, Ghai said, "You have to earn the right to train with us. We are Newcastle United. The player has a responsibility here to be part of a team and part of a squad. You have to act in the right way." So that is also at play here. We will make sure that any player does that to earn the right to train with the group. No player can expect to act poorly and train with the group as normal. Of course, I'd like him to be there, but whether he will, I don't know at this moment in time. We have been here with the time difference, preparing for training and for games. Other people have been dealing with that situation back at home. Newcastle are now weighing up moves for a number of forwards, including Nicholas Jackson, Yoane Wissa, and Ollie Watkins. We are looking at the best players we can get. We are only looking at the best we can get. I see all situations open and available to us, Ghai said. I feel that is the only way we are going to get where we want to go, which is to maximize quality over quantity. It has been a challenging summer, as you know. We have missed out on loads of different targets for different reasons. But we are still very competitive, and we are still in there trying to bring good players to the club. That won't change until the window shuts. Alexander Isak camp has planned to force Liverpool transfer and make Newcastle buckle. Liverpool is set to sell Darwin Núñez to Al Hilal, and the Reds are now expected to make a fresh move to sign Alexander Isak from Newcastle in another big summer transfer. Alexander Isak remains linked with a move to Liverpool. Alexander Isak's representatives are set to ramp up the pressure on Newcastle United to sell the striker to Liverpool, as the Reds prepare for another transfer bid following their agreement to offload Darwin Núñez to Al Hilal. Núñez is on the brink of a move to Al Hilal after a deal was struck worth an initial £46 million, $61.84 million, potentially rising beyond £50 million, $67.22 million. With Núñez's exit imminent, Liverpool are now anticipated to push forward with their plans to sign Isaac, having already had a £110 million, $148 million bid turned down by Newcastle earlier this month. Isaac is currently training separately from the first-team squad, and a fresh report from the ICE suggests that the players' representatives are ready to start applying pressure to the situation, hoping that the Magpies will eventually buckle. The report indicates that Newcastle continue to insist that he is not for sale, especially after their difficulties in trying to sign a new striker. Newcastle have already missed out on Hugo Ekitike, who joined Liverpool, while RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko is close to a move to Manchester United. Liverpool are reportedly eager to ensure any deal represents fair market value, with Newcastle valuing the 25-year-old at £150 million, $201 million. The report also mentions that Newcastle are now considering a move for Chelsea's Nicholas Jackson, valuing the forward at around £60 million, $80 million. However, Chelsea are believed to think Jackson is worth closer to £70 million, $94 million. When questioned about Isak's future earlier this week, Newcastle manager Eddie Howe stated, "You have to earn the right to train with us. We are Newcastle United. The player has a responsibility here to be part of a team and part of a squad. You have to act in the right way." Alexander Isak's future remains up in the air. So that is also at play here. We will make sure that any player does that to earn the right to train with the group. No player can expect to act poorly and train with the group as normal. Of course, I'd like him to be there, but whether he will, I don't know at this moment in time. We have been here with the time difference, preparing for training and for games. Other people have been dealing with that situation back at home. Newcastle also continue to hold interest in Brentford star Yoane Wissa, though they only rate the forward at £30 million, which falls below the Bees' valuation. Brentford are equally determined to retain Wissa, especially following the departure of Brian Mbeumo. Liverpool admires Mark Ghai transfer alternative as Reds face Tottenham competition. Liverpool transfer news, rumors, and gossip as the Reds continue to be linked with players ahead of the summer window. Jurgen Klopp's side are reportedly eyeing up a move for a Brentford defender. Liverpool are reportedly keeping a keen eye on Brentford defender Nathan Collins this summer, As per Give Me Sport, the ex-Wolves player is held in high regard within Anfield. Jarell Quansah, who made his move to Bayer Leverkusen earlier this summer, has yet to be replaced, making the acquisition of a center-back a top priority for Arne Slot. The defensive injury crisis of the 2020-2021 season, which threw Liverpool's title defense off track, remains a vivid memory, and the club can't risk a repeat. As we approach the new Premier League season, the Reds only have two dependable senior defenders in captain Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate, limiting rotation options. However, Liverpool could well face competition from Tottenham Hotspur for Collins, with Thomas Frank reportedly keen to sign the Republic of Ireland star. Collins was recently made club captain by his new head coach and fellow countryman Keith Andrews, which further complicates any potential exit from West London. Give Me Sport suggests that the Premier League champion's interest in Collins remains tentative, with no approach having been made yet. Liverpool is reportedly keeping tabs on Brentford captain Nathan Collins. Having carved out a crucial role at the heart of Brentford's defense, the club has no intention of letting Collins go, reports the Liverpool Echo. In other news, Liverpool have had two bids turned down for Crystal Palace and England defender Mark Ghai, as reported by Foot Mercado. He asserts that the player won't cause a rift with Palace to join the Reds this summer. However, The Guardian's Ed Aarons implies that Anfield is believed to be his preferred destination, but there is a possibility that Newcastle United could reignite their interest. Palace have reportedly valued Ghai at $53 million, despite turning down a $93.2 million offer from Tottenham in January.